Hi, let's talk about simplifying expressions. So the most challenging part of simplifying expressions deals with the subtraction sign in front of a parentheses. So if we use numbers and just think about a different problem, like 10 minus parentheses 2 plus 3, and we use order of operations to solve this, then we would know that we're subtracting all of the parentheses amount from 10, which means we're subtracting 5. 2 plus 3 is 5, and 10 minus 5 is 5. However, when we put a variable in our problem and we can no longer do what's inside the parentheses first, we then need to know how to deal with that subtraction sign in front of a parentheses. So the way you're going to do that is you're going to take the subtraction sign and show that you're subtracting each one of these terms, the positive 2 and the positive 3. So that is 10 minus 2, we're subtracting 2, minus positive 3, so we're subtracting 3. 10 minus 2 is 8, 8 minus 3 is 5, so there's another way we could see that we get 5 for that problem. All right, let's look at another example, except this time you have to apply the subtraction sign because you don't have like terms inside the parentheses. You can't combine 5x and 2. So if we distribute the subtraction sign to show that we're subtracting every term inside the parentheses, we get 12 minus 5x, and minus a positive is a minus. And then we can combine our like terms. The constants here are the two terms that are alike, and the constants are positive 12. And make sure the sign stays with the term, so 12 and negative 2. When we combine 12 and negative 2, we get 10 minus 5x. Another way to write that is negative 5x plus 10. So I could use the commutative property and know that 10 minus 5x is the same thing as 10 plus a negative 5x. And now I can see how I would use the commutative property to switch the 10 and the negative 5x. Another example where you are simplifying an expression. Again, we've got this subtraction sign in front of the parentheses, so we have to show that we are subtracting 2x, so minus a 2x, and we are also subtracting a negative 2, and subtract a minus 2 turns into plus 2. So when I distribute the negative sign, or I distribute the subtraction sign that's in front of the parentheses here, I get negative 2x plus 2. The first parentheses also requires distribution. So when we distribute 2 times 4x, we get 8x. And then we distribute the 2 times the negative 3, and we get negative 6. So 2 times 4x So again, that's 2 times 4x is 8x, and 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. So now we have 8x minus 6 minus 2x plus 2. We can combine our like terms. Be sure to keep the sign in front of it. So the 8x is positive, the 2x is negative. 8 minus 2 is 6x. And then we have the negative 6 and the positive 2. Negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. And that would be the simplest form of that expression. And it would also be an equivalent expression. Okay, something else to think about when you're writing expressions is a lot of times we have a percent that we need to represent algebraically. When we use a percent in computation, we must first write it as a decimal, and then you need to pay attention to the context of the problem to know when to add or subtract from 1, because multiplying by 1 is what keeps something the same. So we're always starting with our multiplication. If nothing's changing about a value, then it's being multiplied by 1. If our value is getting bigger because we're adding a percent, it's increasing by a certain percent, then we're multiplying a number by 1 plus that percentage as a decimal. If our number is getting smaller because let's say we have a coupon and we take a certain percentage off, we're losing a percent of our value, then we're multiplying by a number less than 1, which is 1 minus the percentage as a decimal. So you have to read the context of the problem. You really have to know what the problem's talking about to know whether or not you're adding on to 1 or subtracting from 1. So let's look at some examples here. Sales tax is 7% of your bill. 7% is 7 over 100. 7 divided by 100 is 0.07. You move the decimal 2 times to the left when you're dividing and fill in a 0 here. How much is your bill with sales tax? So your bill is increasing by some amount because they're adding on that sales tax. So your bill, just to remain the same, would be times 1 times 1.07 is going to make your bill larger. So we're going to take your bill, B, and multiply it by 1.07 to get the total bill and the sales tax all at one time. We'll know the amount of the total bill with the sales tax. The next one is different because it's like a coupon. You're getting 5% off the original price. 5% is 5 divided by 100, which is 0.05. We're getting 5% off the original price here, so 1 minus 0.05 is 0.95. So to find the amount we actually pay, we're going to take the price, P, and multiply it by 0.95. Thank you.